Hey everyone, this is my Patreon proud reaction to the 6th and final episode of Zoku Owarimonogatari. And I'm pretty sure this is the final of anything Monogatari related. Like, I think this is truly the end. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. And it's pretty crazy to think about that this massive existence that is Monogatari actually coming to an end. It's almost impossible to fathom. You know, I first started watching Monogatari kind of in between when BakeMonogatari aired and when Monogatari aired. Like, I watched BakeMonogatari, like the Blu-ray rips, and then I waited for Monogatari to come out, and then I watched that episode as it aired, and then I continued doing that going forward until Owarimonogatari ended, and then I kind of fell off for whatever reason. I think because I was kind of around the time I was getting burnt out on anime, and I was like dropping a whole bunch of stuff and whatnot. So I think it was kind of, yeah, around that point. And I was feeling a little bit fuzzy about the events of Monogatari that happened before that, and if I didn't really want to go back and rewatch it at that time, because, like I said, feeling a little bit burnt out on anime. It was just at an awkward time in my anime watching life. But yeah, it feels like I have been following Monogatari for quite a long time, like several years. So I don't know. It's just weird to think of it as just kind of ending, really. I mean, in a way, it kind of ended with like Owarimonogatari second season. This is kind of an if thing. Sort of, but it is still technically like the newest, freshest animated Monogatari thing, though. So, yeah, this is the end. It's no matter what I say, nothing's gonna change that. So, let's get into it and see what happens. Because I believe we left off with Araragi wearing a girl's uniform, meeting up with Ogi wearing a boy's uniform, and that just seems like chaos incarnate, really. So, yeah, let's see what comes of that. 3, 2, 1, play. Although chronologically, yeah, that wouldn't be the end either. It would have been Hana, so, you know, what is the end, really? Whew. Yeah, actually squeeze some air out of the bottle. This is the classroom. She looks much better in the male uniform than he looks in the female uniform. I didn't have a lot of options. Ogi cosplay, that's a concept. The mysterious classroom. You could definitely consider it that. What was I supposed to wear then? Can't come here in my underwear. Yeah, he pulls it off well enough. You can have some confidence in that. Just not as good as you pull off his uniform. A lot strange, man. You're wearing a skirt. I disagree on that. Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this, because I was confused too. Yeah, what's going on, Ogi? To help us understand. I know it's futile, but... logic is only so helpful. Don't even joke about such things. What if life is just a dream, really? Right? Yeah, that's the biggest dream. Getting a girlfriend, the most unrealistic. That's pretty damn close, Ogi. See, Ogi's back to being creepy. I mean, what could you really do, you know? Just cry in a corner. Try to get a girlfriend for real. It'd be easier to take this scene seriously if he wasn't wearing a skirt. I hope not, but I guess it doesn't matter too much in the end if the show's over. Although it sucked for him. Yeah, I guess that's all you can do, really. Okay, then. That was short-lived. Yeah, only a terrible writer would use such a device. Pretty big small talk. Should hope not. Yeah, you know everything. Never thought I would hear that again. This is his story after all, so... Unless the writer just wanted to mess with you. Maybe you shouldn't stand on that. Yeah, it's pretty much what I expected. Just to mess with him. I see how it is, Zoki. Fair enough. That's still quite a lot. How those eyes. I'm not sure that helped clear much up, really. Good question. I bet he doesn't have to wear a dress. Maybe. Doesn't sound good at all. Is there like 80% of an Araragi somewhere? Actually a pretty cool shot, just... That's a weird shot. Hey! Okay. Hey, Dogi. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much exactly what I thought. Right. I do remember that now. It was like a joke, right? Sort of. Okay. Pulling a vampire. That doesn't help me, but I'm trying to get it. I'm having trouble visualizing that. Of course, the city's the only one that matters in the show. Araragi is certainly a unique one. It's always you, isn't it? But you know, Ogi is you, so yeah, it's so complicated. There are two moons. I mean, it's supposed to be like a reflection between, but I think. Wish I was familiar with the legend she's talking about. Okay, that's good to hear. I mean, this world would probably be kind of like a dream, right? Yeah, because it's not canon to his universe, you know? I'm never gonna get used to Araragi looking like that. I mean, Guy killed you once, right? She knows everything, so... I guess that's reassuring. It's like two cups glued to each other. That's interesting. Okay, I guess that explains that. I hate you. So a lot of regrets here are fueling it. Just another day in Araragi's life making a mirror world. I think it's a phrasing of pulled out a mirror world that's throwing me off. Added interest. That's not too bad. Fight, fight, fight. Well, someone's losing. Yeah, I don't think they would be. Yeah, he's got a home to go back to. That's what makes you the partner. What are we doing exactly? Is that a disk? Or black hole? Yeah, that's the black hole. The darkness, rather. Do you play with darkness? Oh, okay then. Just holding on to that curtain. When this become a phone recording? Probably. Just the dark side of the classroom. Guess that's something. Wow. Ogi in the light is such a weird thing to see. That is Araragi Koyomi. Koyomin. Uh... Back at the shrine. Slow down, camera. There it is. I guess that's all resolved then. Can we see people normal now? Who is this? Who is this? Oh, is that? Oh, that's Senjigahara. Hello. Boy, I've missed you. Yo, jeez. This is one hell of an image change. I mean, jeez. I have missed you. Just that skirt, just... Everyone's a critic. Yeah, that's what Dadaragi is. Monogatari is at its core. Infidelity. That's a good question. Lag. I mean, that's just kind of the show in a nutshell. It's just, you know, I thought seeing Dadaragi in a skirt was weird. Seeing Senjikahara look like that is also quite a HUD. Yeah. Guess it would be something to reflect on. We did not see you over there. Like, not once. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I was disappointed too. That car's not gonna hit anyone, is it? Right. Artificially experienced. I remember that. I mean, the arm thing gets resolved eventually, right? Just regret all around, huh? That's the important thing. You know, as we watch the anime. Yeah, definitely doesn't regret getting with Senjikahara, right? Is that why she wasn't there? Because there's no regrets there? Yeah. That's... wow, that's a great reveal. Actually got chills from that. I can't believe I didn't put that together until like a second before they told me. But it makes so much sense. Just don't think too much. Just hop like a bunny rabbit. Wow, Senjugara laugh. Yeah, just jump. Let's go. I like the kangaroo comparison better. Just fly across that road. Man, all the seasons. Been a lot of them. You can end it with a penny shop. Like we started the show. End story sequel. Okay. The sequel to the end story. It almost sounds contradictory. Because an end can't have a sequel, you know? But maybe it can. I mean, it clearly did. Yeah, I don't think there's anything after the ED. Yeah, my favorite part of the episode might have just been when we got the reveal about why Senjugahara wasn't there. Because that was on my mind for a while, why we never met her. So that was a pretty great payoff for that. And that's it. That was the 6th and final episode of Zoku Owarimonogatari. So as I thought, we had a pretty lengthy, pretty important conversation between Araragi and Ogi. His partner. They always stick together through thick and thin. And she had like this little magic black mirror thing for him that I guess was the kind of key to getting out of there. We just kind of enshrined that. And I guess it just kind of worked out from there. As usual, definitely did not understand everything that was said in that conversation. But I think I get the overall gist of the situation. Araragi was talking a lot about graduating from high school, moving on with his life and kind of everything that comes with that. And this whole mirror, like a mirror can kind of captures a moment in time, right? So if you could just kind of stop that, you go through here, and when it came here, it was like I'm trying to piece this all together in my head in a coherent sentence. But yeah, this world basically was kind of a encapsulation of a lot of just regrets, regrets. Araragi regrets, everyone else regrets, parts of them that's I don't know. It's really hard to phrase this in a coherent way. But, you know, everyone's thing is Araragi saves people, but it's not as if he completely makes all their problems go away. Like with Kambaru, you know, even after they resolved the thing, she still had the hairy arm. I think that was fixed in her arc later on, but that takes place after this, of course. But there's that, for one. And, you know, even like Hanakawa, like, a lot of the time they helped her was just basically putting a band-aid on the situation, you know? Relieving her stress and all that, and then it will like come back later. So, you know, it's not as if he always completely solves problems, he just does the best that he can. And inherently with that, there comes, you know, regrets. Like, the whole Sengoku thing was a big example of he helped her before, but really was far from as much help as she needed, right? So, we just kind of gotten a lot into that with this arc, you know? So, it's... But at the end of the day, you know, he does have to move on. And that is, they made sure to phrase it that way, too. Not going home or anything, like, moving forward. Because that's basically what this was, a prevention of that. Right, lingering on past regrets and stuff like that. And with this, he was able to just kind of put that behind him. Something that he would think about, you know, in the past, but it wouldn't, like, control him. You know, he moves forward being aware that those things do exist, but not letting that control him. You know, control his path. That's my best attempt at coherently phrasing all that. So, yeah, there was all that. And just... Ogi... It really was just a fun, interesting visual, just... Ogi facing Araragi, both of them wearing each other's outfits. It really helped really bring home that concept of reflection, you know? A little bit of both on each side. And they definitely did a lot of that too. Like the one shot with the two moons I thought was pretty cool. So just yeah, they really tried to play with that mirror concept. I think the author just in general probably likes mirrors just because of how much he went with that in the episode. And he eventually got to come back home, you know, got to meet Senjigahara, who wore a very special outfit. Like I quite liked that, really showing off those legs, for sure. For sure. I was hoping we would get like a really detailed painted shot of Senjigahara at the end, because that is kind of how the show began, right? At the very beginning with Bakemonogatari. So, you know, we didn't quite do that. We got pretty close. It was close enough. I'll count it. Araragi might have seen Pansu, even if we didn't. I'll roll with that. But yeah, just like ending kind of ending things off with a nice conversation with Senjigahara, which was nice because we didn't really talk to her at all in the arc because she wasn't there, but she wasn't there for a good reason because there was no regrets there. He, you know, was able to help Senjigahara and became her he became her boyfriend, right? The skirts throwing me off. You know, there's no regrets there. He's very happy with how things ended off with Senjigahara, so that was quite a nice thing. For sure. It was also funny how they played with the whole "it was all just a dream" ending. That was pretty funny because, you know, that's a thing some people have done. Very controversial kind of thing, so the fact that they threw that out there as a hypothesis was quite something. I mean, this whole experience in this arc was kind of dreamlike in a sense because it was very much an if sort of thing. But it's not quite the same thing. Not quite. But, yeah, just the two of them taking their big old step together, having the various arcs, just their titles just kind of going through each other. That was also a nice touch, I think. For sure. I did quite like this line here from Senjigahara. The way you put it was a bit too abstract to understand. One of the best lines in the whole show, just because it really... It's just the show, really, right? It's always very deliberately abstract and vague and artsy with how it describes things, which makes it very hard to understand, especially when you're, you know, having to rely on translation and reading dialogue on the screen and stuff like that. It's especially difficult for, you know, Westerner to follow, especially when they reference, you know, legends and stuff that I'm not at all familiar with. But, you know, even if you don't quite get everything in the show because of how abstract it is, you can still enjoy the show, which I think is one of the best things about Monogatari, is it has a lot of this really fancy, deep stuff that you can find if you really want to / are capable of digging for that. You know, like I've seen reactors that are a lot smarter than me, you know, get a lot out of the show in that sense, but even someone who doesn't do that still can very much enjoy the show, just because it's a very interesting setting, you know, fun characters, great, hilarious dialogue and interactions and banter and stuff like that. Even if a lot of the complicated aspects of the show go over your head, case in point. Yeah, so there's still a lot of enjoyment to be found with the show. And I do think that's the biggest part of why it has such a wide appeal. You know, it's as popular as it is, because it does kind of have something for everything. Somewhat something for everyone, and it doesn't really feel like it contradicts each other or gets in each other's way. You might think it would, you know, especially because just how closely spliced some of the, you know, silly fanservice bits are with more serious bits. Like, but the show does that pretty well, I would say. And yeah, I mean, usually at the end of a show I do a bit of an overview of the whole show, but that's kind of hard to do with this show for several reasons. One, because of its length. Two, because of just how complex it is. But, you know, a lot of the show does kind of boil down to just Araragi, you know, trying to help people with their issues instead of tackling his own personal issues, but they kind of, in a way, help him out. And Ogi specifically being another side of himself that was able to really try to push him in the direction he needs to go. That was probably one of the biggest developments of the later part of the show, was just the existence and arrival of Ogi. You know, that was probably one of the more interesting aspects of the show, just because they were so mysterious about what she was exactly, and over time making the audience think that she's this big bad darkness thing, final boss kind of material, but turned out to just be a regular, like, apparition that was just closely tied to Araragi personally, that essentially is Araragi. And that was just a really cool thing that they added to the show, for sure. Like, even though that came so late in the show, it feels just so integral to the show as a whole. Like, it's a bit of an odd thing, really. But yeah, Ogi was definitely one of the most interesting characters in the show in the end. Although Sodachi was great too, for sure. Sodachi really, it really was kind of sad in a way, just seeing Sodachi in this sort of alternate mirror world, you know, what could have been, you know, just so happy and getting along so well with Araragi and stuff like that. When you think about how that could have been the case and that it's not, it is quite tragic. That might have been the most saddest aspect of the arc, is just that, thinking about that. Because that's quite a bit bigger deal than, you know, caught in looking silly in a skirt or whatever, you know. For sure. But yeah, really would take so long to actually talk about the show as a whole. I probably could talk about the show quite a while in a whole, but ain't nobody got time for that. But the show just had a wonderful cast of characters. Is probably my biggest takeaway of it. You know, Nadeko had that Hanakana voice, did a great job with the character. That one scene in her arc when she just lashes out at the teacher and goes to the class and all that, that was probably one of the most iconic moments of her. The second most iconic moment being the snake going down her throat while she wears a school swimsuit. Definitely one of the most memorable parts of her. And her Hanakawa being the busty glasses girl that tries to be perfect and smart and all that. She had a lot of great fun moments with Araragi as well, especially in Kizu, for sure. There's a lot of great stuff there. Senjigahara being just a wonderful character in general, you know, self-proclaimed tsundere, always having some great banter with Araragi, you know, a bit violent in her own way, but, you know, I still think some of my favorite banter between Araragi and another character would be just Hachiguji. You know, she was great. I loved her a lot individually, and I think more than anyone had a very special relationship with Araragi, you know, like, not a bit of a different way than Senjigahara has, because Senjigahara was actually his girlfriend, so that's a little bit different, but, you know, considering she never had a chance at that role, she had a pretty special relationship with Araragi, for sure. And probably the most tragic part of the whole show was probably just when she initially died. Luckily, she came back and became a god, you know, as you do. But yeah, damn did it hurt when she first disappeared, for sure. So yeah, I'm glad she came back. But yeah, almost every character of any importance in the show was really good. That's probably another one of the great aspects of the show, is that, like, almost every character that mattered at all was pretty good. That ranged from being at least above average to, you know, god level, you know, like somewhere between there. Like, even Gain I liked a lot. Like, when she first showed up, she had this cool outfit, you know. She's just kind of silly in a way that no other character had been at that point. I remember she made quite an impression on me when she first showed up, and then she had, you know, Yotsugi with her, which was this cute little doll thing. So yeah, just the cast of characters is like nothing like I've ever seen in any show before, really. Like, it didn't really matter what character was on screen for the most part. I knew they would at least offer a certain level of entertainment, you know, if that makes sense at all. Just, this is a really special show, a really unique show. I don't think any show is quite like this, you know. And it being kind of just over now is kind of, well, more than kind of, it's quite a bit sad, really. like I said, the show I've been watching since probably 2010, 11-ish. Like I said, in between Baki and Nis is when I started watching it. And yeah, the show made quite an impression on me, you could say, for sure. You know, the show's had its up and downs like any show, really. But it's always been a treat to watch, I would say. And always made me want to continue watching more. And yeah, I really don't think I have much more to say on it in this video. Really. Just, I'm glad I watched it, for sure. And hopefully my reaction to the show as a whole was at least decent. Like, it was mostly a rewatch, although aside from Baki, which I remembered pretty well, I think most of the other seasons in the rewatch were mostly blind. Because yeah, the Baki stuff I'm pretty sure I remember the most. But yeah, most of the show beyond Baki I'd only really watched once, so that was when most of the blindness was in the rewatch segment. But hopefully overall, even if you only watch the actual reactions, the actual blind segment, you know, hopefully that was at least entertaining. Like, whatever you watched, I hope you enjoyed it. It's kind of what I'm trying to say. And, you know, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to Cnouki and Ryan for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you consider clicking the like button and leaving a comment, because that's a great and easy way to let me know that people want more. If you want to do something big to help the channel, you can support me on Patreon and get nice benefits like early access to certain videos. See you next time.